Barbie girl, baby doll, mulle jigelu 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 mantunde. Barbie girl, baby doll, gunde kubelu 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 mantunde.
Hi, we have Richa Gangopadhyay here today with us to share her experiences from going from Hollywood to Bollywood. And for the American audience who don't know who she is, she's a very successful Indian actress who has acted in many blockbuster movies in India. And besides her acting career, she has also been successful as a model, and she was crowned Miss India USA in 2007. We would like to thank her for her time today to talk about her experience going from Hollywood to Bollywood and about the book Ketchup and Curry. Hi Richa, how are you today?
Hi Vivek, thank you for having me.
What was your biggest culture shock going to India as an Indian American?
Okay, well, to be honest with you, because I've visited India so many times since a young age, I speak my mother tongue Bengali fluently, and I've basically seen everything. I didn't really have very many cultural adjustments, so to speak, when I moved to India for 5 years. But with that being said, I will share this with you, which you might find interesting. There are certain parts of India that are fascinated by the American accent, and other parts not so much. Well, let's just say that I was working primarily in those other parts that didn't primarily, particularly like my American accent. And so I think what came as the biggest shock for me was when I was told by some of these, journalists and media interviews to neutralize my accent and to do away with my fake American accent, even though this is how I've been speaking since I was 3, and to neutralize it and make it more desi with the British English features. So I guess after a few episodes I had gotten so comfortable doing that I could easily transition between my Indian accent and my American accent. And back home my friends would get really tickled seeing my videos online, and they would question me with concern whether I had permanently turned into a fob or not. So this is for you guys, I'm still the same.
So Richa, what are the similarities between Hollywood and Bollywood?
Well, an experience like the one I chose to have in India, going as an NRI, and that too not being from a film family, trying out the film industry for the first time was truly unique. There are a lot of similarities, apart from the intense world of glam, glitz, fame, fans, criticism, competition, etc. that you see in the media. That's something similar between both Hollywood and Bollywood. And for me, my motivation to explore the field was not fame or money, but it was simply to seize a once-in-a-lifetime adventure and to try something new, to learn a few things and gain some new perspective, as cheesy as that sounds. But whether it's Hollywood or Bollywood, I would say this: you must fend for yourself. Nobody's going to babysit you. You have to keep your head on straight so as not to get entangled in the wrong scene, as we see today with the youth in the film industry. So you have to keep your alert on. And lastly, you have to do what makes you happy on the inside and be strong enough to ignore any kind of negativity and criticism and judgment.
Okay. So what have you gained from going to India as an actress and as an Indian American from America and moving back to motherland?
Well, first of all, dealing with people in both the countries is entirely different, so I had to learn new ways. And I learned from my mistakes, so I learned to be cautious and strategic. And culturally, I gained a lot more than I had during my previous annual visits to visit my relatives and such. And I gained so much love, respect, and admiration from thousands of people in India and as well as in the US, who are still, in fact, inviting me out to special events as their special guest, so that's really nice. And overall, I tremendously grew as a person and as a professional. In fact, my experience creating my own brand identity in the film and media industry has now actually shaped and fueled my interest to what I want to do long term in my career here in marketing and business.
Wow. So, this is a very important question for all the readers of the book Ketchup and Curry.
Okay.
So if they read this book, Ketchup and Curry, do you think they have a shot at Richa herself?
Well, if they read the book Ketchup and Curry, they absolutely have a shot at Richa Gangopadhyay as a friend, yes.
Thank you for that. So, what do you think? As in India, again, both from the south and north, they have with the stash and no stash. People like it, people don't. What about Richa? What does she like? Do you like stash or no stash?
Personally, no stash for me. But I've worked with plenty of heroes and actors with stash, so that was a pretty cool experience.
So in India, we have fans showing a lot of adulation for actors and actresses, and they, do pretty much worship them like gods or goddesses. And so, from your experience, what is the craziest thing a fan has done for you?
Well, one time a fan knew that I was coming to his village for a showroom inauguration and fought his way through a crowd of 2,000 people and stood in a line for 3 hours in the blazing heat and finally presented himself to me with this beautiful picture that he drew himself of me. And I think the detail is just incredible, and it was just such a sweet gesture. And I was truly just so touched and humbled by the fact. Thank you. I was so touched and humbled by the fact that my work had made an impact on someone on that level.
The next one is for all the American audiences, like who's watching this right now. What are the common questions you've been asked that you thought, wait a second, do you even know anything about India?
So I think the common ones that we tend to receive by the Americans here are, do you speak Indian, or worse, do you speak Hindu? Or some people who are kind of in the whole yoga scene, they greet you with namaste, and that seems to be a pretty regular thing. I bump into people at Whole Foods Market and they greet me with namaste just because I'm Indian. But usually I just don't let it rest there, and I begin my spiel on how there are over 22 government-recognized languages in India and over 1,000 dialects, out of which I speak Bengali and Hindi fluently and know a little bit of Tamil and Telugu.
There you go. That's awesome to know that you actually speak over 5 languages, including English, and actually with Indian English and American English, probably 6. So the next question is, again, we're focusing more on dating for Indians. I know so currently in India, Shadi.com, and there are a lot of matrimonial sites for online, not really dating, but that's more arranged marriages. So what is your take on arranged marriages?
Well, first of all, my parents had an arranged marriage, and they have one of the most beautiful, most enviable relationships I have ever seen. And they actually won the National Made for Each Other competition years ago, and they were the only couple that had an arranged marriage. So I'm actually not against arranged marriages. And I think people in the U.S. have a misconception about what arranged marriage really is. They think that 2 people are just set up from birth and are forced to marry when they're older, nothing else. And I want to just clarify that that's not true from what I know. Arranged marriages is just simply an introduction done by the parents or friends, and ultimately the 2 people get to decide for themselves if they might be compatible or they might have some sort of romantic interest in each other, and then they take the final call. And I think for many people, arranged marriages strengthen commitment, and love usually follows, so from all that companionship and duty towards one another. So I'm in support of arranged marriages, but I've also seen arranged marriages that are not particularly fun, and whether I will have an arranged marriage, that's a different story.
So now, since we had your take on arranged marriages and Shadi.com, do we see Richa's profile on Shadi.com? Have your parents set you up?
Well, Richa is in no rush to get married anytime soon, so sorry, I'm not going to be on Shadi.com.
So, Richa, for your fans in India and in America, what are your plans next? You've taken a break or a hiatus for 8 months, and you've moved back to the U.S. So what are your plans, and when do they see you next on the big screen?
Well, one thing I've always said from the very beginning, back in 2009, well before I did Leader or anything like that, was I went to India to explore the industry. It was something unique. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, like I said, that I wanted to seize. So it started off as a hobby, and little did I know that my career was going to propel and gain so much momentum like it did. So I ended up staying there for 5 years, which was much longer than I intended to stay. But right now I am prioritizing my academics, and I am back. And like I said, my experience in films has now shaped my love for marketing and being in the PR industry. So I would like to seek that out further and potentially make a career out of that.
Great. We wish you the very best. Thank you for your time, and thank you for being here and talking about the book.
Thank you.
And also your experiences from as an Indian American and going from America to India to be an actress and become successful in a new country. And we wanted to show that, again, Subbu, our hero here, goes through a similar experience, but actually completely in a humorous way, that he comes here, goes through a lot of obstacles, and becomes successful in his own way, and he finds himself in his identity in a new country. And again, you've done that successfully, not in one country, but in two, both in India and in America. That's a great achievement. And we encourage, the readers of the book and your followers to continue, and follow their passion and go work towards their goals and, take more risks.
Absolutely.
To, pursue what they can, what they are capable of, and not just give in to what their parents want them to do or what they think that is best for them at, a certain time.
Hey guys, a journey from India to the US is full of fun and excitement. So make sure you buy Ketchup and Curry and look at the how-to guide that's in there to help you optimize your experience.